What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another Raw review. Finally, back up here after a couple of weeks of absence due to WWE Raw just really sucking. So we're back finally tonight, night after Survivor Series, to do a big review of tonight's Raw and discuss Survivor Series fallout, everything going on with the egg, and all that good stuff. So your host, Egg Morgan, is here to discuss all of this stuff, and some of it was leaked during the course of the day today. We kind of had a few ideas of what might go down tonight on Raw. And for the most part, when you look at it on paper, technically, we got like 5 title matches tonight with 3 title changes. Now, 2 of these title matches came in the 24/7, and I think you could basically cancel both of those out, not even consider either one of them title matches or changes. But we had the title switch hands over to Cedric Alexander and then over to Dana Brooke, and we had the women's tag team titles swap hands tonight as well. Damian Priest put his title on the line, and Big E put his title on the line. So there was title defenses out the ass, despite nothing really being advertised for the show until maybe an hour or two before bell time. And the only thing they were really talking about or hyping up throughout the day was who stole Vince McMahon's Cleopatra egg or whatever the fuck. So we knew we had to deal with that tonight. Fightful Select broke a story during the day that Austin Theory was going to be tied into this somehow. So we were expecting to see him, but I was not expecting it to go down the way it did in terms of the explanation, when he brought it back and then Vince awards him a title shot. And I put on Twitter, since the fans didn't get any rock last night at Survivor Series, I thought tonight was going to end with Vince McMahon firing Austin. How funny would that have been? So it is interesting that someone named Austin, is kind of at the center of one of the most disappointing whodunit reveals since Rikishi, who ran over Austin, of course, 21 years ago or whenever that was. So all in all, I don't know how good of a grade I can give this show. It was, I was just kind of half-assed paying attention to it. I didn't listen to any promos, anything that anybody said. I watched some of the matches. They were okay. And I was cool with a couple of matchups that I hadn't seen before and happy that Austin Theory got, an opportunity here, and Big E picked back up where he left off and continued rolling with some wins here at the end. So I thought, overall it was an okay show, but typical Raw. And I don't know. And that egg shit, my God, I guess it could have been worse. I was expecting a lot worse, to be honest, out of the egg, the way they paid it off. I thought it was going to lead to some big segment in the ring, where Vince is going to demand to know. It's just so silly. So the fact that they kind of, figured it out without too much, over the top, type of presentation to it, I was happy with. And it put Austin Theory out there in the main event, getting a title shot, which I guess if WWE really wanted to be nuts, they could have done something crazy here. You had Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins at ringside. You could have fucked over Big E and just crowned this kid Austin Theory out of nowhere. It certainly would have gotten Twitter talking. And part of me was thinking they might actually do that. But, I'm really a big fan of Big E, so happy that he held on to the title tonight. But you guys can give me your grades, which I'm sure many of you are already doing. I put a Twitter poll up as well just a few minutes ago to get to letter grades on the show, if I can find it. What are we looking at here? Not a ton of votes in here, less than 100. Looks like D and F is 40% leading the way, 31% C, 18% B, and 9% A. So we are getting some A votes in there, which isn't bad. I can't give this show an A. I think C is about the best I can do. But let me scroll right up to the top here, say hello to everybody in the chat, knock out the super chats that are here, and then we'll get rolling into these results because I don't want to spend a ton of time on Raw tonight because it wasn't a very good show. And you guys have had me 6 days in a row. Last Wednesday, we did the Dynamite Watch Along. I had a special re-upload on Thursday. We did predictions on Friday. Transitional Champions podcast on Saturday, Survivor Series review last night, and now we're here talking about Raw. So we'll probably limit this to just the results of this, and then I'm going to get out of here. So please, if you are new here, subscribe to the channel. Also, tap that thumbs up button right below. I would appreciate it. Thank you to the excellent turnout we had last night for the Survivor Series review. That was a lot of fun. So if you didn't hear my thoughts on last night's pay-per-view, check it out. It's available on the channel right now. You can even download it on the website or listen to it wherever podcasts are found. Let me say hello to Robert Shelton, also Ratnick, Divine Ricks, and Zane G in the house. We got some monkey wrenches. That is good. C number Moonsault. Thank you for the 5 spot. Who would win? Roman Reigns versus Kenny Omega in a 2 out of 3 falls ladder match inside of an exploding barbed wire Punjabi prison. Oh, let me see. I'm trying to 33 times 2, carry the 1. Roman, yeah. Roman's got it. He'll actually win 2 falls in a row. He will destroy Kenny Omega, and that's coming from a huge Kenny Omega fan. But in an environment like that, not going to beat the tribal chief. He's the fucking tribal chief. You don't know how fucking bad that tattoo fucking hurt to get? I'm sure being inside of that Punjabi prison is a walk in the park for our tribal chief. I'm going Roman on that one. Thank you, Divine Ricks, for the $5. Hey, Greg, do you think in the near future Roman Reigns will defend his title against McIntyre and Lesnar in a triple threat match? That's an interesting concept because, if you ever do want to get the title off of somebody, so a lot of times a triple threat match is the way to do it. So if you wanted to take the belt off of Roman, you could stick Drew in the mix there. And what you're suggesting actually already has a tie-in. I mean, Lesnar, he was beat by McIntyre. So, if he comes back and he wants another shot against Roman, you can have McIntyre being like, I want in on this too. Brock, I don't know if you remember, but I beat the shit out of you a couple of years ago at WrestleMania. I've already proven I can beat you. If anybody deserves a shot against Roman, it's me because he got one over at me in Survivor Series when I gave him the fight of his life. So I'm next in line, bitch. I can certainly see McIntyre making a case for himself there, and it would be an easy out for WWE. Anytime you put a triple threat together, you can move titles around without beating anybody, and WWE might want to stick McIntyre in there to take the fucking pin. So yeah, I wouldn't rule that out at all. I have no idea what the plans are for January 1st for that big pay-per-view. I've been saying for the past couple of weeks, I think it'll be Drew McIntyre facing Roman Reigns because I was under the assumption we were going to wait until next year to pay off Brock. Maybe the next crown jewel, which I think is going to be between Rumble and Mania or Mania itself. But if they want to bring Brock back quicker, we know he's going to be on that December 10th Staples Center show, the one I'm not going to, for SmackDown. He's going to be like in the audience or something, so he'll be there. They might set something up for January 1st, and maybe you can insert McIntyre into those plans and make it a triple threat ahead of whatever Roman and Brock rematch you do down the line, whether that be at Crown Jewel, Rumble, or Mania. Those are 3, from what I understand, stadium shows we got coming up next year. So I can see that totally, man. Absolutely. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Oh, geez, George Morris is here. Get ready, y'all. Thank you, my friend, for the $5. Hey, Greg, how are you doing? Raw 0 out of 10 and Survivor Series 0 out of 10. So that's a total of 0 out of 20. Shit, WWE's getting worse every day, and I can't take it anymore. Be safe. That might be the first time I've almost agreed with your ratings there. I agree with that final sentence more than anything, although you didn't use any periods. But that final few words, WWE getting worse by the day, I wholeheartedly agree with, and that's what I've been saying to the point where even I'm getting fed up. I've given WWE the benefit of the doubt for 44 years, man, and I'm finally reached my wit's end. Even when John Cena, is going out there and just throwing Fruity Pebbles around the ring and winning 9 titles in a row and holding the title for a year, even then I was like, shut up, stop bitching, everything's fine. I can't, even now, I'm just like, I can't believe what they're doing. They are just so horrible. Oh, yeah, I agree, man. Good to see Mango Salsa in here as well. Jonelle Jackson, Ungovernable. What's up? Jet the Hawk, Atomic Cody. Crazy. J26, MJ Parker. Not sure if I got you. How Wheezy? Might have got you. Good to see you, my friend. Ryan is back. Sonny, Big J, Max, Ben Forbes, Charlie, Midwest Goon, Ryan with a D+. We got some Fs coming in here. Nathan is in the house. Michael Cuomo. Nice. Yeah, well, I said over the week, Michael, that I figured at least 4 post-pay-per-view Raws, I should probably be up here just to continue talking about the previous night's show or, Fallout. Even if the show sucks, we should have a fair amount to talk about. And, even though tonight was not the best Raw we've ever seen, we did get 5 title matches. So, it's not like there's nothing to discuss, and I'm not sure if we've seen any Damian Priest, Sami Zayn matches. I can't recall any, so I think that might be a first tonight. And Austin Theory taking on Big E was also a first. A couple of weeks ago, we got Chad Gable and Finn Balor. I thought that was a great match. So it's like sometimes they try, and sometimes they just suck. Actually, I'm not sure if we've ever seen Bianca and Tamina going one-on-one either, and I think that match took place tonight as well. So, I mean, just on the fact that it's 24 hours after a pay-per-view, and we had a lot of championships on the line, including a couple of title switches, I figured I got to be up here. But yeah, don't expect to see me. Shit, to be honest with you, I don't know if I'll be up here again until the end of the year. Maybe. There's probably going to be a good Raw between now. Sometime in December, they'll stack one up. So I wouldn't say you're not going to see me for the rest of the year on Mondays, but it ain't going to be many Mondays. I think I'm just going to enjoy the time off and focus my energy more on Wednesdays and AEW Dynamite and our weekly podcasts and our watch-alongs on Sundays and our special reviews and all the other stuff we can do on this channel. Raw might just have to take a back seat for a while because unless they give me good shows, I really don't care about reviewing it. And from, some of the numbers I was doing on Mondays previously, not many other fans did either. But we'll see how it goes and keep our fingers crossed for the best. Where'd I leave off on the Super Dupers? I think I've got Divine Ricks with another 5. Thank you, my friend. I hope they move AJ Styles to contend for the world title soon. I'm starting to get bored of him and Omos together. They are together way longer than I thought. I kind of figured after they lost the titles they might split, but Omos, he needs some work. His work in that Battle Royal last night was real ugly. And I think, for a guy as big as him, he's only going to be able to do so much, and having someone like AJ there with him, I think is good for him in terms of having a veteran around him. But I agree that AJ is moving into the very, very, very final stages of his career here. This guy's like my age, and I couldn't do a fucking phenomenal forearm or a 450 splash. So, I don't know how, long he's going to be able to continue to do this. And if you want to have one more run with him, I think you do that before he is not completely physically gone. Now, AJ is a lot like Shawn Michaels, where I think, even when Shawn came back bald in Saudi Arabia, he was still looking okay in there for somebody his age and hadn't wrestled in so long. I think AJ is the same way. I think he's different than a lot of guys, and he'll still be able to wrestle a lot like Shawn Michaels did into that age when Shawn was 43, 44, 45. I think he retired at maybe 44, 40, whatever it was. He was still, that match with Undertaker, his final match was great, and he retired. So AJ, I still think, has got a year or two left in him. A lot of people want to see him leave WWE and go to AEW. That would be great, but you're talking about a mid-40s AJ Styles, not a mid-30s AJ Styles, and I just don't know. Kevin Owens and other guys like that, I would love to see over there, but when it comes to WWE and the mistreatment of wrestlers who weren't created in WWE, AJ is one of those exceptions to the rule. I will never complain about the way WWE treated AJ Styles. They actually surprised me the way they treated AJ Styles. When he came in at the Royal Rumble and he got that pop, 9 months later, I think in the September pay-per-view, he was beating Dean Ambrose for the title, and then he went on to hold it for like a year, he won it a second time, and then he held it for like a year. I think that was it. I was just blown away that they took this TNA guy, and someone who is, actively stayed away from WWE for all these years. You'd think they would bring him in and treat him like shit. I mean, they've treated almost everybody else like shit. Even Sting and Goldberg really weren't getting fair shakes their first go around, but AJ Styles, within 9 months, they've got the title on him. So it was like Vince trusted him almost immediately, and they've continued to trust him to be in big matches and big situations, even if he's not at the top. So I think AJ is one of those exceptions to where I'm like, I don't think he's necessarily better off in AEW. I think AJ should be very happy and consider himself very lucky to be treated the way he did in WWE. Usually guys like AJ, aren't treated that well. There's some exceptions there. AJ and Daniel Bryan are probably the two most notable ones. And maybe even CM Punk in terms of guys that came from the indies that WWE actually trusted and treated well. It's a short list, man. Everybody else goes underappreciated. And I don't think AJ Styles was underappreciated in WWE. If he did find a way to get over to AEW, I think that would be awesome. There's a whole bunch of fun shit he could do over there, but I certainly don't think if AJ, for example, hypothetically, if his contract came up and he made the jump, that he's going to be going over there or releasing any videos like he's broken out of prison. He has been treated marvelously in the WWE. He might just want to go over there for some new opportunities, work with some of his friends before, he finally retires. And I think a lot like Adam Cole, he could leave WWE on very, very good terms, but I could never imagine AJ jumping and being bitter or anything like that because he's been treated very well and he's a pro. So anyway, in terms of your comment and getting bored of him and Omos, yeah, I kind of agree. I just don't think WWE has a whole lot more for AJ at the moment, Salvador Origian, sorry, I suck at saying names. Thank you for the $5. I thought the run-in on Seth was Nia Jax. Wow, what do you think of having Raw's last hour as TV 14? I don't think it would change anything. TV 14 will do absolutely nothing to fix the ratings because it's not the fact that it's PG that's the problem here. It's everything. It's their creative integrity. It's their ineptness, from a storytelling perspective, and just how shitty they are. Like everything they do, they basically just have no plans. And that's what's so annoying, because they plan everything else. They know where WrestleMania is going to be next year, and they got all their fucking business dealings worked out. But in terms of where storylines are going, they don't know what they're doing tomorrow. And it's just bizarre that they run the company like that. So changing anything like that is going to do dick to change the ratings. That's not their problem. They have a million other problems besides whether or not they can say shit on TV or not. So I don't think that would do anything. Funny that you think the attack was Nia Jax. I thought it was like Dawkins from Street Profits, because he looked like a big guy and he just came flying into frame. We're going to talk about that here in a minute, but for those of you not aware, Seth Rollins was jumped tonight at Raw by a fan after he had his little segment with Finn Balor. They're supposed to have a match. Match never takes place because Seth beats Finn Balor down, and as he's leaving through the aisleway, some douchey McFuckface comes running through jumps the barricade over kind of where the stage is, and basically just tackles Seth head on. He had no time to even react, but you know what? I think Seth did a good job of actually holding his own, because when that guy tackled Seth, the force at which he ran towards Seth, and Seth not even seeing him coming, it looked like he was going to spear Seth about 15 feet backwards, but Seth was actually able to stay on his feet and not go down, and kind of front face lock the guy a little bit until I think at least 2 referees and some security pried the guy off of Seth. But Seth was all the way underneath him trying to get out, and Seth was yelling at him. There's all sorts of fan video and fan footage of this going on, and a small sliver of it got caught on TV, which I didn't see. Like, I was watching the segment, I saw Finn Balor get stomped, and I even saw the camera shot where Finn Balor is laying on the mat, and I turned away to write notes, and that's when the fan attacked Seth, and everybody on Twitter is like, holy shit, Seth was attacked. So now there's all these other videos out showing the entire ordeal, and this guy just attacking him. Now, apparently it's a 24-year-old male. He's been apprehended. There's videos of him being escorted out of the building. I'm sure they're going to press charges and all of that. And sometimes I really, really wish it was the 1980s. I cannot believe how stupid fucking fans are to do that and what the point of it is. And I just think that anybody that attacks a performer should be taken out in the back and beaten so badly they have to go through speech therapy to relearn how to talk. Like, it's so dangerous because people are crazy. You don't know if this guy's armed, if he just wants to go out there and get himself famous like he's a streaker or something and go out there and attack Seth, or, he could be looking to do real physical harm. I don't know what the motivation or what this dumbass thought he was going to accomplish by doing this. Even if he gets to Seth, which he did, he's going to be pulled off in minutes. So what was your end game? What was the point? What did you think you were going to accomplish by doing that? And it didn't take fans long to realize, and this blew my mind, but this is in the same building where Bret Hart got attacked. That's where the Hall of Fame was. Remember, WrestleMania was in New York for 35, and the Hall of Fame was in Barclays, and they had that new set, that shitty set with the ring set up and everything, and that fan attacked and tackled Bret Hart. And he was dragged away. I'm pretty sure one of the FTR guys got one good shot. I think it was Cash or Dash at the time, got one good hard shot to the dude's face. And it sucked when I saw the security footage, or when I saw the fan footage of the security escorting this guy out. He didn't look to be banged up at all. So unfortunately, it didn't look like anybody got any shots in. But I think they should stuff him in a closet with a very angry and hungry Bobby Lashley and handcuff his ass 5 minutes. Or have the judge sentence him to a pop-up Bauer bomb through a stairwell. Or something like that. But that guy's a piece of shit. He can rot in hell, and fuck him. So I hope the absolute worst thing in the world that can happen to him, that's what I hope happens. I hope he goes to jail for just a couple of days, long enough to be anally violated, and then I hope he grows old, broke, poor, and dies lonely and forgotten. Fuck you, fan, for attacking Seth Rollins. But Seth handled it like a boss, and security, I think, could have been there a little bit quicker. And it was funny. There's one angle of it where the cameraman, I think, thinks it's an angle because he zooms in. So the dude, I can't remember which footage it is. It's from somebody sitting more off to the side of the stage where you can get a clear shot of the guy running and attacking Seth. And when it happens, the cameraman zooms up. It was actually pretty funny. And he probably didn't realize that this was not part of the script. So anyway, we're going to be talking about that here in a minute when we get into the Seth Rollins stuff. But yeah, what a dick. Chris Miner, thanks, dude, for that $10. Appreciate that. To cleanse the palate from this weekend, let's celebrate The Rock for a little. Favorite promo and match of his. Mine is him versus Mankind at Royal Rumble, and favorite promo is his mocking his Hell in the Cell opponents. Oh, that was fun. That was where he did put Austin's hat on, and he says, I'm going to drink a big glass of milk and all that shit. Favorite Rock promo? Oh, man, I might have to go. Well, I have to be partial to a very famous segment that I was live in the building for to see, and that is This Is Your Life. I was on the floor seats for This Is Your Life, which I still think might be the highest rated Raw segment of all time. So the fact that I was there in attendance for that was more of a segment than a promo, though. I'd have to go also Jericho's debut. And some of the stuff he did backstage with Michael Cole at first when he would put the shirt over his head, a couple of those. He used to do impersonations back then too. I remember the first time he talked about The Undertaker, he like rolled his eyes back and he's like, die, die, die. That one was pretty funny. The one where he talked to the cops about when he was being interrogated about who ran over Austin, that's a funny promo. So I don't even know, man. I'd really have to think about it. He's got too many to really narrow down to just one. And I also loved the Rock concert, the one with Vicky when he was doing Eric Clapton. Biatch, you know the words. That is great. Favorite match? God, Mankind or Royal Rumble 99. I might go. Do I want to pick one where he lost? Man, I don't know. I'm trying to think if I saw any great Rock matches live in person. I did, but none that he really won. I might have to go, you know what, just because it was such a great moment and it should have happened at WrestleMania 16, I might go Backlash against Triple H. I just thought that was when he won the title was fucking awesome. And it was his first time really winning it as a babyface. So I was into that. I'm going to cop out and say that one. But anywho, let's get into Monday Night Raw. We've been doing a lot of flapping our gums. Hit that thumbs up button for me as we get into the actual results here of the show. Of course, this show was in Barclays again on back-to-back nights here. Vince McMahon yesterday at Survivor Series ordered Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville to bring all of the SmackDown and Raw stars all to the building tonight to interrogate each and every one of them. So I was under the assumption the whole show was just going to be about that, showing Pearce going from star to star, asking a bunch of stupid questions. I'm like, oh, brother. But they didn't do that. The show actually opened up with Vince McMahon in his office with Sonya and Adam, and they both said that they have already conducted their interviews and their investigation, and they've turned up no leads. There's no clues. And so Vince is still very concerned about his egg. He's now saying that The Rock loaned the egg to him, and it's not really his egg, and Rock's going to be mad or whatnot. So he's kind of desperate at this point, and he says, tell every superstar that if anybody brings this egg or they bring me the culprit, that's who it is. I think that's what he said. If they bring me the culprit and tell me who stole the egg and bring the egg to me, that person will get a title shot against Big E later on tonight. And I think he also said an award. So this sent a portion of the roster into a frenzy to where they cut backstage a couple of times to see basically the 24/7 crowd and like Rhea Ripley and a couple of other people tearing the backstage area apart looking for this egg. And I'm like, what's Rhea Ripley going to do with it? Get a title shot against Big E if she finds that thing? So they're all looking for it. They're trying to get the reward or whatever. And that's kind of what the show was centered around. And that's how we open things up. We then get, oh crap. I was wondering why this looked weird. I just pulled up the wrong notes for tonight's show because I saved them and I just pulled up last week's I pulled up 2 weeks ago. I'm like, what the hell am I reading? There we go. I'm about to talk about Vince and Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville in his office, and I've got some completely different segment written. There we go. These are the notes. I don't even know what the hell I was looking at there. So anyway, like I said, Vince is demanding to know who stole this thing. He's offering a title shot and a reward to anybody who ousts the culprit. And he even threatens Sonya and Adam, saying that if you don't deliver what I'm asking, you're both fired. So he's basically threatening to release people right on TV during the same year that they've released 71 names. The first match we get tonight is going to be Riddle taking on Dolph Ziggler, but Riddle is missing. So we're at Gorilla. Randy Orton's being interviewed, and he's like, man, Riddle's got a match in like 2 seconds here. I haven't seen him since last night at Survivor Series, and he's missing. So I'm thinking, oh shit, Riddle's missing. He got lost. Randy Orton even said he sometimes gets lost in his own house. So Riddle then materializes. He shows up, and Orton's like, what the hell? And Riddle comes into frame, and he's basically dressed up like Randy Orton. He's got his hair pulled back, and he's got some fades going on the side. He's got a fake mustache and little goatee like Randy's been rocking right now. He's wearing black trunks, and he's got the Randy Orton vest. So Riddle is single white femaling Randy Orton, and you love to see it. So he goes out there for his match against Dolph Ziggler. Riddle, of course, gets the win. Bobby Roode is out there as well, and Randy Orton helps him out to dispose of both, and they kind of celebrate together. So as of right now, Riddle and Orton are still kind of on the same page with each other, but you can almost tell like Riddle's behavior is getting stranger and stranger. And I think, as long as they're on the same page, that's fine, but it would be kind of cool. I don't know if they want to go in this direction with Riddle's character, because they really seem to like him as like the airheaded stoner type of guy that's easily confused and basically has like a mind like a child. So he's so they kind of like that with him, and they'd have to go in a very different direction if they changed it up to this degree, but he's kind of acting crazy. And if he becomes more and more obsessed with Randy Orton, I think that when the relationship inevitably crumbles, that will tell us a lot of what kind of character Riddle is. I can see him maybe being heartbroken at first and being typical Riddle, kind of like he was before. He was like apologizing to Orton. I think he wrote him the apology note, like he can send him singing telegrams and do everything he can to try to win back Orton's love. But this time, unlike last time, it doesn't work, and it finally becomes clear to Riddle that it's over and Randy Orton's never going to be his friend again. And then maybe that changes something in Riddle where his, he's now scorned, and now his obsessive behavior turns a little psychotic. You're talking about a guy stalking the Viper. Randy Orton should not sweat somebody being a little bit crazy. He should be able to deal with these guys. He's faced dead men and fiends and all this shit before. Some angry stoner shouldn't be that scary to him. But if you did take Riddle in a direction where he's so heartbroken and pissed that now he's out for revenge, then you can start having him, act very obsessive or stalk Randy Orton, or I don't know, to the point where Randy Orton's got to, get a restraining order or whatnot. And maybe it's a way, like I said this like a year ago, at some point you got to wonder if WWE is going to bring Riddle out of that goofy shell, like they did with Kurt Angle a little bit, because when Angle was, kind of first there, he was just really kind of goofy, and they kind of weaned that off of him a little bit to where he's still goofy, but you don't fuck with him. He is a credible badass, and everybody knows it, even though he's a complete idiot. So I think at some point it would be fun to see Riddle get to that point where he's a little bit more like Kurt Angle and a little bit less like RVD, to the point where wrestlers are legitimately scared to get in the ring with him, because this guy is a fighter, So we'll see. Right now, I'm extremely happy with RK Bro remaining together. I'm in no rush to see them break up, but we're not stupid. We know that Randy Orton and Riddle are not going to stay together forever. They're probably going to stay together just long enough for them to have a match at WrestleMania. That's what I'm hoping. So we'll see if that winds up being the case, but there's a lot between now and then. We got January 1st, we got the Rumble, we've got Saudi Arabia. A long way to go until we get to WrestleMania, but if I'm booking this, that's where I do Riddle and Orton. I do it at WrestleMania. After that, we get a Becky Lynch promo. I almost said Charlotte. Becky Lynch comes out to the ring. She talks about her match with Charlotte last night. I basically listened to nothing she said here. She shit on the fans a little bit, but it was kind of tough to boo her. People much prefer Becky, I think, over Charlotte anyway. And she just ran her mouth for a bit. To be honest with you, I didn't pay attention to any of her promo. The match last night with Charlotte, as we talked about last night, was very good. And I thought the two performed really well, and to the point where it made me think that any sort of backstage animosity might not be as bad as they're playing up, because, when two people hate each other, it's really hard to cooperate in the ring, and more often than not, when there's real life history, the story might be good, but the matches aren't. You don't have to look at any further than the screw job to see that. So the fact that they performed so well last night, I thought was awesome. Interesting news today regarding Charlotte as well, little speculation. I guess Andrade has unfollowed her, or they've unfollowed each other from social media. So that's interesting. There might be some sort of a breakup there we don't know about. Man, I don't even know if I'm like everybody watches everything you do. If I'm them and you break up, I'm almost like not unfollowing just to not trigger anything in the, in the wrestling community to where, oh shit, they're going to start speculating. So don't know what's going on there with Charlotte and Andrade, but I believe they are engaged. I don't think they have gotten full-blown married, but the relationship may or may not be over. All we know is I guess they're not following each other anymore. So we'll keep our eye on that. And if there's anything that's been reported that I've missed, let me know in the chat. If there's anything to add regarding Charlotte and Andrade. I was pitching an entire elaborate kind of worked shoot type of screw job scenario last night where you stage a falling out with Charlotte where she gets pissed and Becky takes both belts and she storms out of the arena and WWE just agrees to give her her release. She can go work in AEW for a couple of years, be closer to her fiance and maybe even her dad, who prior to the Plane Ride from Hell Vice documentary, I think was set to come into AEW, probably not now. And maybe she can just be over there for a while with the understanding she'll come back to the company for a couple of years, in a couple of years. But now that does not appear to be the case. And who knows what's going on with Charlotte and Andrade. After Becky's stuff, Bianca Belair comes out. She's got a match up next. She has a pre-match promo first. She talks a little bit about Doudrop. Now, Doudrop, I haven't watched Raw in the last couple of weeks, but she's kind of moved to the top of Bianca's, next challenger or next program or whatnot. So they're going to have a showdown soon. She cuts a promo on Doudrop and says she's going to face Tamina later on. And I feel like such an asshole. I just thought about Tamina 2 days ago. I would have sworn Tamina's name was one of the release names. I swear I thought she came in like the batch before last. Not this one, but the one before that. I know it was Nia Jax. I swear I'm not getting them confused. I really thought Tamina was let go. I was happy to see her come out. I'm like, oh shit, Tamina. Had no idea. So I really thought she was let go. So that's kind of a new match that I don't recall seeing, Bianca and Tamina. And Bianca, of course, wins. No big surprise. And that's when she is attacked from behind by Doudrop. And Doudrop, Tamina, and Natalya all laid out Bianca Belair and kind of celebrated together in the aisleway. So I don't know if this is another faction or their group they're going to create with these three and what in the world they could possibly be called if they do form a group, but they might. And Bianca has got, a lot of adversaries right now. And she talked about her good showing last night at Survivor Series and winning and all that stuff. Next up is where we got the Seth Rollins, Finn Balor stuff. This is supposed to be a match. Seth comes out first. He's dancing. This is the best Seth has ever been. I am loving this character. And he's dancing like an idiot. And he's bragging his balls off about his big victory last night at Survivor Series, being the sole survivor and all that stuff. And he's got to face Finn Balor in a match, which is cool. These guys have got a lot of history dating back, 5 years now. And unfortunately, though, we don't get the match because before the bell, Seth Rollins attacks Finn Balor, beats the shit out of him, and then hits a stomp on him in the ring, and the match just never takes place. So it's basically just a no contest. Now, after Seth is leaving, I believe he even goes back to deliver a little bit more punishment before finally leaving. And when he's leaving for the final time, right as the camera cuts away, or cuts from Finn to Seth, you see him getting basically speared by an unknown figure, and the camera quickly cuts away, and everybody on social media was pointing out, I think Seth Rollins just got jumped by a fan. Didn't take long before fan videos were all over Twitter showing what went down, and this dickbag basically just hops over the barricade kind of off to the side of the stage and gets a running start, probably ran 20 yards, running start, and just tackles Seth and just hits him face off, head on. Seth didn't even see him coming. And like I said earlier, Seth did a good job, I think, of backing up and actually not letting himself get speared backwards and actually taking a bump. He was actually able to stay on his feet and even kind of front face lock the guy a little bit when he went down to his ass. And by then, a couple of referees and security guards had gotten this guy off of Seth. But you never know. I mean, imagine how nerve-wracking that must be to be in that situation, to be attacked by this guy. You don't know what he's got, who he is, or anything like that. He could have a knife on him. He could have COVID and he just wants to cough in your face. I mean, who knows, what the hell's going on with him. So He was escorted from the building. Apparently, he's 24 years old. There's no name released on him yet, although I'm sure it will be. And, he's going to be prosecuted, and he's probably going to get the same punishment that the guy who attacked Bret Hart got. But I kind of wish he got a little bit more street justice as well, and I wish somebody would have been able to get 1 or 2 shots on him. That would have been fucking great. But unfortunately, another ugly incident in the Barclays Center, because as we mentioned earlier, this was the same place where the Hall of Fame in 2019 took place when Bret Hart was tackled by that asshole. And I think that guy did get a couple of shots to the face. But this moron did not prosecute him to the fullest extent. Hopefully he has a record or something to where it's going to make his situation worse. I actually hope this guy's got some sort of a record. Hopefully it's not clean and all of that. Maybe that's why maybe he's just a, really well-behaved person. He goes, you know what, I'm going to do this one crazy thing. Worst that can happen is I'm going to get a fine or maybe spend a night in jail. Hopefully he's got like a long record and they just fucking throw the book at his ass. So we'll keep our eye on that situation once that happens and find out what exactly he's going to be dealing with. And I just hope WWE prosecutes him hard. And so does Seth Rollins. I mean, Seth was actually attacked here. So I don't know if he can even sue him for something. I don't know. He could have been a zombie, maybe. You're talking about the guy that attacked Seth Rollins? Yeah, who knows? But scary situation there. Seth was fine. He'd even be out later on in the main event. So very, very happy that Seth Rollins was okay and he survived that. Very scary because you just never fucking know, man. There was that I didn't want to watch the story or watch the details because it just sucks, but I've been seeing that shit all over social media about the car that drove through the people in Wisconsin or whatever. Like, geez, you never fucking know. So, when you're a performer, and you're a rock star or wrestler or you're an athlete, people can just run out onto the court, run out on the field. You just got to trust that everybody's not fucking crazy. And every now and then a crazy one gets through. And I'm just glad Seth Rollins and nobody else was injured, because you think about the referees and the security guards too. They're the ones that have to dive in there on this guy who might have fucking razor blades all over him or something. So you just never know. People are nuts. Glad that situation wasn't worse than it was. Much like the Bret Hart situation. That was scary too. He got taken fully down. If that guy had anything on him, any sort of a weapon at all, Bret could have been in a world of shit. So just glad that everybody's all right. My God. After that, we go backstage to Vince McMahon again. Sami Zayn's with Vince. And before this, by the way, wrestlers are shown scrambling around looking for the fucking egg. This is so stupid. And so now Sami is in the office with Vince, and he is telling Vince that he can find it. He will find out who took the egg. He promises Vince he'll do it. And basically the motivation here is Sami is doing this so he can capitalize on getting that reward, that championship match against Big E in the main event. So he's going to go figure it all out, I guess. And how they would do it here later on didn't make a whole lot of sense, but we'll get to that in a minute. We cut to a backstage promo with Kevin Owens. He's looking around for the egg and says a couple of things. Cannot wait for him to get into AEW. Hopefully that is still the case. After that, we got a tag team match. Street Profits taking on Omos and AJ. I paid zero attention to this match. I just caught the end where Montez sprayed Big Omos in the face with a fire extinguisher. Ref called for the bell, and I believe that's going to be a victory for AJ and Omos via DQ. And then we got another tag team match, this one on the women's side, and it's for the championship. Nikki Cross. Why can't we call her Nikki Cross? Fucking Helmet Boy is gone. Isn't that the only reason they changed her to Nikki ASH? Because WWE feels we're too stupid to be able to tell the difference between two people with the same last name. He's gone. So why can't she just be Nikki Cross again? Hopefully what we saw here might be the beginning of her going back to that. Even though I know it was her idea to do the ASH thing, but I think we can all agree that the ASH is SHIT. So now the tag team titles are on the line. Zelina and Carmella, these two idiots, have a backstage promo first. And I think if Carmella and Zelina are looking for a team name, I think God Please Shut the Fuck Up would be a good one. So that's what I nominate. Zelina with that horrible English accent. It's the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. And Carmella, of course, is just Carmella, and she's ridiculously annoying. And they're going to go out there and take on the tag team champions for the title. So I was thinking, well, the title is on the line here. I was thinking that Zelina and Carmella were going to win. For sure, because at first I thought it was a non-title match and it was going to be one of those dumb championship contender shit matches. But then when they make it clear that it's a title match. I'm like, oh, they might actually win here because Zelina just won the crown and they're trying to do this shit with Carmella with the mask. Nikki and Rhea, none of us really have any interest in seeing these two together as a team. They should both be contending for the top title, not being in a tag team. And I was like, I think we might actually see it here. And we did. Zelina hit a code red on Nikki ASH for the win. And we've got new tag team champions, and it's a decision that I'm actually fine with because even though I just think Zelina is awful and I'm not a huge fan of Carmella, I just think there's so much more you can do with someone like Rhea Ripley and Nikki Cross, and ending this tag team is something they should do now. I have a feeling we're going to see a rematch next week. Maybe they'll lose, and then maybe that will be it, and maybe Nikki will be a little bit upset. Maybe she'll finally rip that mask off and say, enough of this. It didn't work. I'm going back to being Nikki Cross. Or maybe she can be crazy Nikki Cross, like when she was Insanity. That would be fun too. But hopefully this is the end of Nikki and Rhea because they don't really need to be together. So then we are backstage again and in Vince's office, and Sonya and Adam let Vince know that all of a sudden, after spending all that time interrogating everybody with no clues and no direction and nowhere to go, they have all of a sudden miraculously found the culprit, and they're going to bring him in right after the commercial break. So I'm like, oh God, what is this going to be? I mean, we knew that Austin Theory was going to be involved in this, but I was like, are they really just going to bring him in here and he's going to admit it? Yeah, pretty much. So they bring in Austin Theory. He's got the egg. I just thought for sure we wouldn't see the egg at all. He's got the egg in his hand, and the explanation he gives is fucking absurd. I don't even know if I heard it right. I'm like, am I hearing this right? He basically says that he came into Vince's office when nobody was around, and he wanted to take a selfie with the egg, but there was so many people around, he got scared and ran away. Like, what, with the egg? Like, you went through the trouble of taking it out of the box and why would you run away? Why didn't you just put it back? I don't understand what the fuck. I didn't understand his explanation. So Vince is so overjoyed to have the egg back, he basically forgives Austin Theory. Now, Sami Zayn is in the office too, because Sami is ready to jump on this opportunity, telling Vince, hey, I found him. I'm the one that figured this out. I want to get the title shot. And Vince is so happy to get the egg back. He's like, oh, you seem like a good kid. And, I'm going to forgive you. As a matter of fact, I'm going to give you that title shot. And Sami is now flipping out. He's like, what the fuck? I thought I was supposed to get the shot or whatever. So Austin Theory is going to get the title shot against Big E. And to be honest, I'm really glad they didn't drag that out longer than they did. The way they were hyping this today on social media and all that stupid crap they did last night at Survivor Series, you were making it think that this egg was going to be a really big deal, and it was going to be like the unveiling of Vince McMahon's son, or the limo blowing up, or Rikishi running over Austin or something. And it was just like, oh my God. So the fact that they just paid it off like that, Austin stole it because he wants to take a selfie. He wound up taking a selfie right there in the office with Vince and the egg, and he gets a title shot in the main event later on against our champion, Big E. So I think we all knew how that was going to go down for Austin. After that, we have a 24/7 championship match. The 24/7 rules are suspended during the match so we can actually have it. I missed the Raw a couple of weeks ago where like Byron Saxton and Corey Graves, who's, basically competed in his first match in like 8 years, both held the title for a brief time. So they suspended the rule, so I guess they can't jump in. Both Corey and Byron are bantering back and forth about their runs as champion a couple of weeks ago, and it's just an in-ring match, and Cedric beats Reginald. Just beats him, wins the title, and then, of course, all of the 24/7 crew runs to the ring to try to win the title, and before Cedric can run away, Dana Brooke is on the top rope. She hits him with like a swinging neck breaker or something like that and pins him, and Dana Brooke wins the 24/7 title. All of the 24/7 field is now in the ring, but none of them know what to do. Smart move by Dana Brooke. Yeah, I'm going to win the title. Like, what are they going to do? Beat the shit out of a woman? So nobody wants to touch her. Everybody's scared to do anything. And Dana Brooke might be our longest running 24/7 champion in history. I think the only person with the balls to try to pin her is R-Truth. So R-Truth just won't care. He'll think she's Beth Phoenix or something and try to beat her. And he'll probably attack Dana Brooke and beat her for the title, and then beg her to not tell Edge to beat him up. That's what R-Truth should do. That would be hilarious. So anyway, we'll see. But Dana Brooke is your new 24/7 champion for right now. Bobby Lashley, this was a relief. I'm so zoned out on WWE's product. I was scrolling through their ridiculous Twitter page today, and I swear I saw a very odd match. I thought that Dominic and Rey Mysterio challenged Bobby Roode to a match tonight. I'm like, why the hell are Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio facing Bobby Roode in a handicap match? The whole time, that's the match I thought we were going to get until we have the backstage promo with Ray and Dominic, or their little backstage segment, and they're talking about Lashley. I'm like, oh, Lashley. That makes a little bit more sense. So Lashley is in the ring first, and MVP just cuts a blistering promo on Rey Mysterio and his family and tells his wife to give him a call and all that shit. And we go to the handicap match. Ray and Dom, of course. Bobby is dominant throughout this whole thing. I thought he looked like $1 million last night rocking those red trunks. Back to the black tonight, but he looked great. Dominic eventually gets locked in the hurt lock, and he taps out. And Lashley back on his winning ways, I suppose. Still a little bit butthurt over him losing to Goldberg the way he did in Saudi Arabia, but Lashley's one of my favorites, and he made pretty easy work of father and son. We got a WrestleMania 38 promo for tickets, or on sale date for tickets. I guess they're already on sale. I guess one of the taglines they're using for this WrestleMania is stupendous. It's going to be the most stupendous, really? And Austin was a part of this because, of course, it's going to be in Arlington there. Stupendous. All right. Well, hopefully this WrestleMania will be stupendous. We then get a Big E promo backstage where he just continues to win my heart. Puts over Roman, takes accountability for his loss. I got no excuses. I went out there, fought my ass off. I think he put over Roman Reigns in an interview or something like that today, too, about how good he really is. And basically just took accountability for the loss. I lost. Sorry. I got to refocus, though, and we got other shit to do tonight. And he talked about his match with Austin Theory, and he said something regarding Austin Theory, and he does the pretty good, the Larry David thing, which is great because he's wearing Seinfeld gear. So Big E wearing Seinfeld gear in New York doing a catchphrase from Curb Your Enthusiasm is just another reason why Big E should break Bruno Sammartino's title reign record of 8 years, because he's my favorite. After that, we get eyeliner wearing Damian Priest, because when you want to appear tougher, eyeliner is the way to go. He's got an open challenge, U.S. Open challenge here tonight. There were some reports today that what we saw yesterday on the kickoff show with Shinsuke Nakamura was a heel turn by Damian Priest. I'm like, he has been a little bit more aggressive lately. I didn't think he needed to turn heel to be aggressive, but he did kind of snap and use that guitar on a couple of baby faces. But even when we were talking about talking in the review last night, I was not talking about Priest's match as any sort of a heel turn. I just thought he got pissed and used the guitar. So tonight he's got this open challenge, but he is answered by basically two heels. So I don't really think what we saw was a heel turn. Maybe that's an incorrect statement. Maybe he's just more of a tweener, or he's just going to be Damian Priest without any labels. That could be it as well. But he's out there to have his open challenge, reminds people, don't disrespect him or I'll fucking kill you. And then he is greeted or interrupted by Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz. So they're out there and jaw-jacking a little bit, and Priest is like, why don't we fight or whatever, and Apollo is just being a pussy about it. I didn't even really catch what was going on there. All I know is they were talking, and for some reason, the match between Apollo and Damian Priest didn't happen because Sami Zayn comes out instead and goes nuts, and he wants the match, and Damian Priest, I guess, grants him the match, and they wrestle for the United States title. In the end, Damian Priest, obviously, he wins with the reckoning after Sami Zayn disrespects him. So I think Sami slapped him on the outside of the ring, and he just went nuts and just beat the hell out of poor Sami, and then finished him in the ring and got the win. So Priest is still the champion. He retains the title, and his edgier, more aggressive side still seems to be growing. And I like this. I actually do like this Damian Priest more than the Bad Bunny WrestleMania Damian Priest. This is just a much better look for him in terms of his aggression and that sort of stuff. So I kind of like it. And after that, we had the main event, Big E defending the WWE title against Austin Theory. Pretty cool. They gave this kid an opportunity. I thought Austin was a lot of fun in the way in NXT. And I don't know, Seth Rollins was out here as well, along with Kevin Owens. They were at ringside. I think Owens came out. Seth was out there all along. I think Owens came out later, like midway through the match. But I'm wondering, because they have teased it a couple of times. I mean, Austin Theory and Rollins do have that connection from a year ago or whenever it was. Not sure if they're going to wind up picking that back up or not, because after Seth Rollins' performance last night at Survivor Series, it seems like he's going to be, as we talked about last night, probably going to be Big E's next big challenger, either pay-per-view challenger or whatever they have set up in December. They got a big Raw coming up at that UBS Arena or whatever in a couple of weeks, the same arena that Dynamite's going to be at. And so far, AEW is beating the hell out of them in ticket sales. So they might want to schedule some sort of a big title match for that night. We don't know. But in terms of the match between Austin and Big E, not bad, not great either. Rollins and Owens are both watching on. Eventually, Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins begin to argue on the outside of the ring. This causes all sorts of distraction for Austin, who's in the ring, and he winds up just eating a big ending right in the middle. This match couldn't have gone any other way, especially after last night, Big E losing. He's hitting his finish and he's pinning some motherfucker in the ring tonight. 1, 2, 3, and he did. And then after the match, Big E attacks both Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens and basically stands tall in the ring and taunts him with the belt. Both y'all can go fuck yourself. So he's got both of them to contend with right now. He might do a triple threat. He might have to face both of them, but with Kevin Owens and all of the rumors of him heading over to AEW, I think, he's going to be jobbing out hard. And I would love to see Big E defend the title against Kevin Owens sometime between now and when Owens' contract is up, because I think Big E and Kevin Owens would have a lot of fun together. They're friends, and Big E will, make sure that his last, big match in the company is a lot of fun. And I think Owens is not going to win another match. If he starts winning or something, then he might be sticking around. I don't know. But I think eventually it will lead to Big E's ultimate challenger being Seth Rollins. Seems like that's who they're pushing the strongest right now. And we might even get a Rollins and Owens match, which is probably, when you think about it, what they're doing here. We're probably going to get a Seth Rollins and Owens match to determine Big E's number one contender, because if Owens is leaving to go to AEW, they might want to give Seth Rollins that WrestleMania win back. How many times have they faced since Seth lost to Owens at WrestleMania? They've probably faced a couple of times, maybe even once on pay-per-view, but I think Owens, owes Seth a win. I could be mistaken. Help me, guys that know this shit better than me. I feel like he's owed a win. So they might want to do this now, have Seth beat Kevin Owens once or twice ahead of him going to AEW. That's the way WWE used to do it. You didn't want guys jumping to WCW who have beaten a lot of your stars. And sometimes there was no way around that. Some guys would just leave in the middle of the night, like Hogan and Savage did and whatnot. But if you have a chance to job them out like you did to Hall and Nash, X-Pac, same thing, your 1, 2, 3 Kid, the Crybaby match and all that shit they did with him, before he left. And even Steve Austin in WCW, he lost to Randy Savage in like 5 seconds before he was out of there and in ECW. So you always try to do that. It's kind of nice to see that back back now that we actually have real competition here in the States with wrestling companies and guys, jumping ship and moving when their contracts are up. You can start playing this game again. You got to watch Kevin Owens get jobbed out. I don't care. I'm just ready to see Steen in AEW. Unless this whole thing is a big fucking ruse and Kevin Owens has already signed an extension and he has no intention of leaving, but he wants everybody to think that he is. I can see him doing that shit too. But I want Owens in AEW. I want an Owens and Chris Jericho promo in the ring or something. Festival of Friendship Part 2. Right there in AEW. Fun stuff, man. I'll cruise over here now that we're done with the results. I'll cruise over to the chat, knock out any questions you guys might have for me, and then I'm probably just going to get my ass up out of here. And I would appreciate some thumbs up on the way out if you don't mind as well. Who gets custody of Ric Flair? I don't know, man. I wouldn't want custody of him. Yeah, Max, you kind of echoing what I say. I mean, at least WWE, I thought that don't get me wrong, the egg shit was stupid. It was stupid, the king of stupids. But I thought it could be so much stupider than what it was. And I'm glad they just made it Austin Theory, because at the end, we don't give a shit who took the egg or what the hell's going on. So just get to the end of it, because whatever you guys write is going to be lame. So they made it Austin. They gave, somebody that otherwise would have never gotten a title shot. He gets the title shot, and cool. That's one thing WWE can do that AEW cannot do, because AEW has those match ratings, or the win-loss records, I should say. And I actually like a wrestling company doing win-loss records. I think that's cool, and I applaud them for trying it, but there are some holes in the logic with the win-losses and stuff. And if you ever do want to give somebody like an Austin Theory a title shot, how are you going to be able to do that when their record, is a losing record, or they're nowhere near the top contenders? That's when you have to have these weird battle royals or number one contender matches or something like that to randomly give a guy a title shot, because that's the only way AEW is really going to be able to get that done, is to have eliminator tournaments or whatever to give guys shots to be able to leapfrog people with better records and stuff. So WWE, they don't have to worry about any of that shit. They can give a guy who's brand new a championship match, and that's where they have a little bit more creative freedom. But they do nothing with that creative freedom. They do nothing with their with the opportunities they have most of the time. So yeah, that's WWE for you. Oh, Rodrigo, you were watching Dancing with the Stars during the Zelina and Carmella win. Right on. Wow, Roaring Metal Man, you haven't seen me since before COVID. Holy shit. We've been here every week, man. Hey, you haven't even watched WWE since. Well, my man, you have not missed anything. And yeah, I kind of agree. It is really all about AEW right now. I mean, at least until the pendulum swings again. But right now, they're putting on a far more interesting and entertaining product than WWE. So I'm kind of with you on that. Do I think this will lead to the debut of the Kiss My Egg Club? Hopefully not. I thought for sure it was going to have a gobbledygooker tie-in somehow. It was going to be his little golden child. I don't know. Seth should check himself for bite marks. I don't know if that guy got any bites in or not. Life of Brandon, what's up, man? You've probably heard by now because I've been talking, but yeah, they did find the egg. Austin Theory was the guy. He was the sneaky bastard who did it. Oh, what do you mean, Kevin Owens? Hopefully they don't do something stupid like put the 24/7 title on him before he leaves. Oh, my God. He'll be back there chasing that thing. I mean, I would hope that WWE, just like Adam Cole, I mean, WWE, we fucking hate them right now, but at the end of the day, they have no reason to be dickheads to Kevin Owens. Anything that Kevin Owens does in terms of jobbing out, I'm not going to be considered WWE being assholes. I'm going to consider it doing what all wrestling companies have ever done. And like Adam Cole, when he left, he was on great terms with them. They parted professionally. They like him. He likes them. It's just not where he wants to be, kind of thing. I would hope, because wrestling is a business, and you would think Vince, Mr. Businessman, Mr. I vote for presidents who are businessmen, which is not a good idea. You would think he would understand business. You would think that Vince would be like, yeah, your contract's up. You're going to a better opportunity. I can't fault you for that. I can't get mad at you for that. You're not betraying me. Your contract's up. You have every legal right to go wherever you want. So I would hope that WWE, while maybe they're disappointed if they were to lose a star, they certainly wouldn't be bitter and fucking trash the guy and rake him over the coals. And I think, like I mentioned earlier with AJ Styles, and like we saw how Adam Cole left the company, I think Kevin Owens is in that, he's in that same category there as someone who's been treated pretty well by the company. I think we all wish he got another crack and another run with the Universal title. He only had one, and he lost it in such a bullshit way, and he didn't get his rematch. I don't think he ever got his rematch, really. And, he has had lots of close calls. His great program with Roman earlier this year, where at the Royal Rumble, maybe many people feel he did win the title. So he never got another run with it. That is disappointing, but I still think overall, Owens doesn't have a ton to complain about, because Owens is another one of those guys. He's an indie guy, and unlike AJ, he doesn't have the wrestler body. Owens didn't come in with a whole lot other than his reputation, and then they put him over Cena. So he's a guy that if he leaves, I don't want to hear Kevin Owens go on any sort of podcast, and just trash WWE. I'm sure he's got some frustrations, and I'm sure he's got some stories to tell, but he shouldn't be anywhere saying, oh, they mistreated me. He can definitely say they're idiots. Even if you have a great relationship with WWE, you probably know that they're idiots. Like, you can tell, everybody knows that. So I'm sure Kevin Owens or AJ or anybody like that who's let go will say, oh yeah, they're dumb as fuck over there, but they treated me well. That kind of thing. So I think Kevin Owens will be, in that category when and if he leaves. But 24/7 title could be happening. I missed it, Zane G. Thanks for the 5 spot there, man. My thoughts on the New Day 1 pay-per-view promo. And you got another 5er coming in. Thanks again, dude. Would you have Lesnar for the Day 1 pay-per-view? Oh, the New Day. Okay, I get it. The name of the pay-per-view is Day 1. So would you have Lesnar for the Day 1 pay-per-view or build up for Rumble time? Good question. It depends on how big WWE wants to make this Day 1 show. Is this going to be an annual thing? Remember that one year we got that New Year's Revolution when Edge won the title? We never got one again, I don't think. Or did we get 2 of those? I think we only got 1. Might have been 2. I don't remember. But if this is them planning to have this on the calendar annually, you want to start the new one off with a bang, and having Brock Lesnar face, Roman on that show, I could definitely see it happening, but I think a lot's going to be answered between now and then. I mentioned Drew McIntyre last week. I said, Drew will probably have a pretty good outing and showing at Survivor Series because I think Roman needs a challenger for that January 1st show. But with Brock reportedly going to be at the SmackDown in a couple of weeks in LA, they might be moving that up a little bit. But I was kind of under the assumption we would hold off on Lesnar until either Rumble or Crown Jewel, which will likely be in February, or WrestleMania next year, leaving Roman just to face somebody else on January 1st. So I don't know. I'd hold off on Lesnar. I'd do Roman Drew on January 1st because I know a lot of people are kind of over Drew. I'm not. I would still like to see another face-off from the match they had at Survivor Series a year ago that I thought was really good. So I'd be perfectly fine with that main event for Day 1, but I've only seen the one promo and the one hype package for it. Oh, wow, Rodrigo. I didn't know it was 3 years. I only remember the one, the very first one. It ran from 05, 06, and 07. 07. What the hell was on the 07 one? The 07 Rumble, was that Cena Umaga, right? Man, I don't even remember the other years. That is crazy. Crazy. What's going on, K-Dog's Kennel? Good to see you. You're here just in time because I'm about to bounce out of here. How are you this evening? Did Austin Theory series seriously steal the egg? Yes. Austin Theory is the culprit. His explanation was bonkers. Said he wanted to take a selfie with it, got spooked, and just ran away with a $100 million egg. Vince trusted Adam and Sonia to find a $100 million egg, not the FBI. And it worked. Maybe Vince isn't as dumb as he looks and sounds and is. Man, well, thanks for the info on that New Year's Revolution. Was that always on the 1st, or did they run that different days? But January 1st, I don't even know. That must be a weekend then, right? So that makes me think that if they do, the Day 1 can't be every year because there's going to be certain years when the first of the year falls on like a Monday or something. Oh, January 1st is a Saturday. Okay. So Saturday pay-per-view. Yeah, so that makes sense. So next year, well, actually, it'll probably fall on Sunday next year. But if we get to a point where January 1st is on a fucking Wednesday or something, what are they going to do? Are they going to have the pay-per-view or not? I don't know. 07, oh, thanks, Barry. 07 had DX versus rated RK Bro and Umaga versus Cena. So did they do a rematch at the Rumble? Is that what it was? Umaga and Cena at Revolution with a rematch at the Rumble. That must have been it. And DX and rated RK Bro. Wow. Completely gone from my memory. Remember nothing about it. And I'm sure I watched it. Not only did I watch it, I'm sure I purchased it and ordered it, but I just don't remember. Okay, so Revolution is always the first Sunday. So, yeah, I think they're going to have to do that with Day 1, but then it ain't Day 1 anymore. So, makes me wonder, because like Wrestle Kingdom, I think they always do January 3rd and 4th, regardless of whatever day of the week it falls on. So WWE, they could do that. I mean, we've had Tuesday pay-per-views. We've had Wednesday pay-per-views. We've had pay-per-views on different days. The only pay-per-view days we haven't seen, we've had Thursday pay-per-views back in the day when Survivor Series fell on Thanksgiving. So I think the only nights of the week WWE has not held a pay-per-view would be like Friday and maybe Monday. I think every other day has been covered. Maybe not Wednesday. We've had Tuesday in Texas. No, I think we had Tuesday in Texas. We had Taboo Tuesday. And then it was Cyber Sunday. So, yeah, maybe Wednesday. I don't know. Dan Price, Raw sucked, but not as bad as it could have sucked. The way they're hyping up the egg shit, it was basically poised to be the worst Raw of all time. Turned out to only be semi-bad, and we had 5 championship matches with 3 title changes. So it ain't that bad, but could have been worse. Day 1 in 2022, day 2 in 2023, and so on. Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. They could do day 2. Day 33, shit, it's going to be, if WWE is still around for 364 more years, eventually it'll be day 364, 365. That'll be some weird shit. Oh, wow. Anywho. Well, I'm going to get out of here now. I got some stuff to do. I have some dinner to eat. I appreciate you guys being with us here for the past 6 straight nights in a row. It's been a blast. I'm going to take tomorrow off, but we will be back up here, of course, on Wednesday to watch Dynamite together. It's the night before Thanksgiving. Hopefully a lot of you guys are off and home and enjoying some family time or whatnot. So Wednesday night, make sure you're here right when Dynamite starts, and we'll watch all of that together and have a good time. And looks like, based on what they have advertised for the show so far, that it's going to be a pretty fun one. So it should be a hoot. You guys take care. Thanks for being here, and I will catch you Wednesday night.